Hey, good buddies, what's up, and welcome into the Good Buddies Anime Review. I am your good buddy, Roger.
And I am your good buddy, Brandon.
And this week we are going all the way back to the distant year of 2004.
We back there.
We're right on the dawn of the digital age of anime, the widescreen age of anime.
God, was I a freshman?
I don't know.
I think I was a freshman when this came out.
I was like a sophomore or something.
5, 6, 7. Yeah. 2000 class 2007. I would have been freshman. Jesus Christ.
2006. I've been a sophomore. Yep.
Hey, can you hand me my gun? I'm just gonna. No, I'm kidding. That's terrible. Don't really. No, that's a terrible joke. All right, but anyway, we're gonna talk about a classic, one of my personal favorites from one of my favorite anime directors ever, Mr. Satoshi Kon. Rest in peace. Let's talk about it.
R.I.P. in peace, my dude.
R.I.P. in pieces. God bless. Let's talk about this great show that was recently put up by Funimation on their streaming service. It's Paranoia Agent, baby.
It's Paranoia
Oh,
Agent.
we getting freaky deaky in this one. Are you ready to swing that bat?
Yeah,
Wait,
man.
wrong show, but right show.
Wrong show, but...
Wrong show, but right show.
Hey, you're thinking too much.
I am thinking. Maybe you should take a rest. Take a rest. Anyway, we're going to tell y'all about this anime. We're going to try not to get too spoilery because it's been out for a while, but also...
Yeah.
Still, y'all might not have seen it yet.
It was actually not very easy to get a hold of.
Until just very recently. Yes, it is on Funimation now, so check it. But we're going to break on into it. And Roger, we're going to tell our good buddies, their good buddies, are going to tell them, our good buddies, whether or not we think they should check it out. Spoilers, you should. And we're going to do that by breaking it on down and giving it a review of recommendation. And Roger, if it was straight up boo-boo garbage.
I'd call it an anime, maybe not.
What if it wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst?
I'd call it an anime.
It was fine. It was average.
I'd call it an anime, maybe.
It's actually pretty freaking good, though.
My guy, I'd call it animos, definitely.
But if it was so good, Roger, if it was dang near perfect,
I would call it animazing.
That is what we would call it. And the way we're going to get there is we have 5 different categories that we're going to give it possible 2 stars in each category for a possible total of 10 stars. That is how math works. And Roger, what is that first category?
The story and setting.
What's the second one, Roger?
The characters and development.
Third one, sir?
The art and animation.
Numero 4.
The soundtrack.
And finally, that Good Buddies Wiggle Room, that 5th category, that
Je ne sais quoi.
Roger, what does that mean?
I do not know what.
I don't know what. But that's how we're going to do it. Let's get right on into it. Quick pitch-wise, there's not a whole lot to say. It's from, again, one of my personal favorites, Mr. Satoshi Kon. Paranoia Agent is a genre-bending true crime / short story episodic / ghost story.
Paranormal.
Very paranormal, particularly toward the end. I was actually, I watched it with my girlfriend, who I don't believe had ever seen it before at all. And I told her, like, we were watching it, and there was these little previews at the end of every episode that I don't even remember seeing when I saw it the first time. And telling her, oh yeah, I remember this next one. This is where it turns. This is where it goes from being a pretty standard true crime, what's really going on here, to, oh, this is a ghost story now.
Yeah.
And it gets pretty intense. It's a really interesting show, but it is overall and at its core about the effects of rampant paranoia and fear and how that can take a hold of the human psyche on a massive level at a certain point. Very interesting stuff. Let's get on to the story and setting pretty quick here. Without getting too spoilery with it, because we're going to keep it to the first few, what's obvious. A young woman is brutally attacked by a child wielding a bat wearing roller skates one night while walking home from her job in Musashino, Tokyo. The shocking nature of the attack whips the city into a nervous frenzy, but detectives are at first skeptical of the validity of her story, but then becomes a little more solid when more and more victims of similar attacks by apparently the same child begin pouring in. And then things get wild.
Yeah.
Story-wise, that's pretty much it. We're going to get into the characters, give you a little more details, but setting-wise, it takes place around the city.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well drawn, very well designed, I would say. You get a bunch of different little areas. There's a whole episode that takes place primarily in this school. There's episodes that take place, further out, like sometimes in the countryside and whatnot.
Yeah.
They mix it up pretty good.
Yeah, the like first 6 episodes too revolve around just certain characters, really.
Yes.
Like you'll see your characters, our main characters, I'll say that, quote unquote main characters,
Certainly.
flash in and out of the episodes, but generally they follow different people.
Yeah,
or at least that first half of the show.
Yes, there is a massive supporting cast for this one, and they're all done quite well. We'll get into that. Not too much, because we'll be here for hours talking about all these different characters. But do you have much more to say about the story and setting?
I do not.
All right, well, let's get on into it. Characters in development, a lot to mention, but let's start with the main ones. First and foremost, Tsukiko Saki.
Yeah. So she is
like a character designer.
Yeah, she designs characters, and she designed
like Sanrio style, basically.
Yeah, Sanrio style characters. She is like just made this mascot that is sweeping Japan.
Oh, it's got
people freaking love it.
Just stealing hearts nationwide.
And we'll talk about its name is Moromi. We'll talk about it a little more in a second.
This Moromi the healer dog, as I believe what a few of the posters say.
Yeah.
It's this adorable pink googly-eyed thing with a giant head.
Yep.
It looks exactly like what you think it does.
Its head looks like a big jelly bean.
Yeah, it's got little droopy ears on the side. Yeah, it's very cute. But Tsukiko, currently when we start the show, she's under a lot of pressure because she made this new character. This new character's blowing up. Everybody loves it. And it's like, all right, that's great.
Yeah. We need another character.
We need more. We need more so we can keep us going. So she's under a lot of pressure to make this new character. She's at the end of a rope almost. And then, as we already said, she's walking home one day and gets attacked by a young man with a golden bat and inline skates on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. So
Whoo, all right, whoo, okay.
Yeah. And once the news picks up this story, the bat wielder, we'll go into him.
Yes.
Lil Slugger,
aka in the I believe he's called Shonen Bat in the original.
Shonen Bato.
Bat Boy. This puzzling figure that is central to each attack and each episode. Young man wears a ball cap, golden skates, and carries a golden baseball bat that is bent at a certain point.
It is bent it's like a Spike Spiegel cigarette.
Yeah, it is described by one character as bent like a dog's leg. Has this just this big dent in it, so it just goes and it looks pretty messed up already. Mm-hmm. And then imagine just smacking people in the head with it, because that's basically what's happening. Pretty interesting stuff. And there's not a whole lot else to say about Little Slugger until later in the show, which obviously we're not going to get into here. Sure. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit in the ramble. But it's a fascinating, interesting set of characters that get involved with this guy.
Right.
How about the people who were trying to catch him?
The people who are trying to catch him, the first one is Detective Keiichi Akari.
Mm-hmm. Tough as nails.
Yeah, he is your
unapologetically old school.
I don't want to say standard. He is your just model detective. He is that detective. He is that Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
He is that Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's an older guy.
Yeah.
Pretty tough customer. Don't take crap from nobody. He's here to get the job done and do what it takes to get the job done.
Reminiscent of noir detectives and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. A little less with the she walked in late night, and more like a quit screwing around and tell me what happened.
Yeah,
like real serious guy.
Well, later on you kind of find out.
You get a little bit.
Yeah, you get a little bit like what he expected his life to be like.
Yeah.
And it kind of mirrors some of that noir stuff.
Sure.
He is essentially, I wouldn't say that they do a good cop bad cop thing in here, but if they did, I would say that he's bad.
He's
cop.
Definitely the bad cop. If that was it's not, you can't boil these two detectives we're going to talk about down to such a simple thing, but that is, if you were to try to, he would definitely fit the bill.
Yeah,
for your bad cop, the real serious, no nonsense, quit screwing around kind of guy.
He's Jim Gordon.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Meanwhile, opposite to him and a perfect foil for him, we have Mitsuhiro Maniwa. My boy Maniwa.
Yeah. Maniwa, he is more open to exploring ideas. He's more open to hearing people out.
He's down to think outside the box.
Yeah.
He is, and of course, as you might expect, compared to this older, gruffer guy, he is younger and more sympathetic. Tries to think like, what's the bigger, like, what's really going on? What else could be happening?
Yeah,
here?
and he's very unconventional with these approaches.
Yes, quite so. Always thinking outside the box, as we already said. Really cool character. He gets some wild character development later in the show.
Yeah, he sure does.
Boy, oh boy, my dude. I love him. But yeah, apart from that, we already talked about Moromi a little bit.
Yeah, is there anything? Because I mean, Moromi's the like mascot for not only Tokyo in the show, but the mascot. Like you see Moromi on all the box art.
Yeah.
If you were to find a Paranoia agent shirt, it would probably have Moromi on it.
Yeah, Moromi's like the central figure in like the outro of the show.
And Moromi does have moments where it speaks and stuff. It seems to come to life. Whether or not it's actually alive or not is to be determined.
Right.
But,
but like particularly,
really how you look at it, but
it's pretty obvious. Like at first that you're meant to think it's. So the only time you see Moromi like move or talk or anything is when Tsukiko is alone.
Yeah.
She always carries a little Moromi doll with her because that's her baby, and it pops out and it's telling her, "Hey, it's okay. Like you're doing fine.
Forget about it.
Don't stress. You're thinking too much. You're thinking too much." His little baby.
Yeah. Moromi essentially there to take the stress of Tsukiko away.
Trying to keep her
calm, and it's a really fun character though.
Mm-hmm. A protector, you could say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of others in the supporting cast that we can't really get into, but a few highlights. A mysterious old man who seems to be able to predict the attacks. Kawazu, a gossip journalist who's trying to get the little slugger scoop to get a quick buck. And one of my favorites, Yuichi Taira, a.k.a. Ichi, who is a sociopath in elementary school whose fellow students immediately suspect he might be Lil Slugger because he happens to own a golden bat.
And golden skates.
And golden skates, yes. That's a fun one. Oh boy. The gambit of these characters and the stuff you see them go through and the development they give them, it does do the like, here's your episode, here's your episode, here's your episode.
And the cool thing about it is they all link together. They all chain together.
There are a lot of links between these characters. There's a lot of interesting stuff that happens. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, man. Obviously, we can't go into detail with everybody, but it's rad. You want to hit the art and animation?
Sure. It's very good. It holds up super well.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can tell just looking at it, is definitely an older show, but the animation is very smooth, very dynamic, particularly toward the end. Some of these big scenes that you get are like, wow, that looks great.
Yeah, and a lot of the designs are very, I would say 90s to 2000s, bigger budget anime movie.
Yeah.
Like the designs aren't your typical anime designs. Like they look more film-esque designs. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But
I actually do want to talk about some of the character designs because they really do it for me. There, a lot of them, some of them are super out there. Some are more standard, but you get these ones where like Kawazu, the guy we talked about who's like the gossip reporter, he's got this huge mouth.
He's very frog-like.
Yeah, he's got these big bulgy eyes. He looks like anime Barney Gumble from The Simpsons to me. He looks like if Barney Gumble, the drunk from The Simpsons, was an anime character with black hair. That's what he looks like to me. But then you've got like this other dude, Hirakawa, who is a police officer. He's got this big bulbous nose, and even these little one-off characters, like there's a doctor you see in an episode, he has these freaking fish eyes that just stick with you. Like it's hard to forget these very interesting character designs. I love them.
Yep, it's really cool. And like you said, it does show a little bit of age, but for 16 years, not a lot.
Looks great. Still looks great.
I probably, if I had to, put something from that timeline, that's what I would, base it to, something that would be really nice off of. It'd probably Fooly Cooley.
Sure.
And this it does a damn good shot of coming close.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It was easy to watch. I mean, I don't have any problems watching old stuff. I know plenty of people do. I know plenty of younger guys that I've associated with at the store and stuff that I work at. They won't watch older. I know people that just won't watch anything that's cell drawn.
Yeah.
Like if it sells, they're like, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And it's, in my mind, that's a real shame.
Yeah.
However, I could see myself, I could still recommend that they watch this because it is smooth enough and it looks good and it is widescreen. Now, I don't know if they cropped it or anything to get the widescreen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I don't remember. I remember watching this on a Square TV.
Yeah.
So on a tube.
Yeah, I would have to do some research to figure that out.
I don't know. Like, I mean, they might have had, we were at that time where they could have had, two different sizes for it. But
sure.
I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on that if
Yeah, I don't have the specifications here. But yeah,
whatever it is, it looks good. Like even if it is cropped, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good. Another thing I like about the art in this one is when they mix it up. There's a whole episode where it goes from being like this, pretty relatively realistic, like, cityscapes and detective thing, to all of a sudden they're just like very fantasy world out of nowhere.
Yeah. And a lot of changes. It's
looks
very
rad.
dynamic.
Yeah, very dynamic, and it looks great. It looks rad. They do some blobby faces in that one. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
There's other bits where, like, the Ichi episode, the end of that one goes into this weird, like, kid drawing mode, and it's jarring, but it works very well. And that's a thing that, like, that's one of the big themes with this one is, and we'll get into that a little bit more right now when we talk about the music and soundtrack. A big thing with this one is putting you on edge constantly.
Yeah.
Like, even we can go into music and sound right now. The intro, which I forgot how much I love it until I watched this again.
So we are in.
Yeah, let's go music and sound. Like, the intro, for example, is constant. Like, it's this very
It's
happy,
weird.
so happy, this song, so triumphant, but the things it's talking about, a mushroom cloud in the sky, and the visuals you're getting of these people laughing while she's standing on the edge of a building and in the rain like she's about to jump, or this person who's excitedly laughing while she is underwater drowning. Like, it's just disturbing.
At one point you have somebody in front of a mushroom cloud, then you have another character
like with their hands in the air cheering, laughing so happily,
and then you have another character standing above something that, like the planets in the background. You can just see shockwaves rippling through the planet.
Like we just hit Armageddon mode, baby.
Yeah.
Skynet done became active. Like, it's one of those. It is at times disturbing. It is at times just shocking and jarring. It is designed to constantly keep you just a little bit nervous, and it works. Good stuff. The outro is pretty interesting. It really reminds me of a old school RPG in theme.
Yeah.
Like, you just hit the button to rest at the end, like dee 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 dee, one of those. That it kind of feels like that, and you see a bunch of these characters actually sleeping, and it kind of, I don't know, like it's another weird thing that's like there's this kind of happy-ish, sleepy kind of music playing. And it's just like, it kind of gives me the feeling like, this is a dream, but you're still in it. Like, you're not getting out of this one yet.
Right.
It's not over till it's over. And even then, it's not really over.
Yeah.
It's really interesting the way they do some of the music.
Yeah,
and stuff
I would say the interstitial stuff, like when they actually, whenever they're trying to get a point across, it does it very well. But I would say that there are moments that are missable that I couldn't go back and tell you, like what was the sound here.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think it's, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I think, when they're trying to do something, they do it really well. I just think there's a whole lot of space, and like a whole lot happens in this show. 13 episodes. And a lot of it kind of, I would say, just the more, like when they're just having some background music or whatever, it's just there to be background music. Something else important is probably happening.
I get that. I do feel like there were moments where the background music really worked for me. Particularly, there's an episode where there's like a guy driving and he keeps seeing like what he thinks is little Slugger in the back, chasing him in the rearview mirror, and then he like freaks out and hits the radio, and all of a sudden it's playing the intro song.
Yeah,
like weird stuff like that. There's a moment toward the end where there's like a big, like, this person is overcoming this huge moment, and it plays like this really triumphant music, like I made it, I'm getting out.
Yeah, well, at that end part, like right before, the chase or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
At the end, the sound design there was really cool as well.
There's a lot of interesting moments.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff.
I think it works.
I just think there are some moments that are lower, like where like it's a big difference.
I get
between whenever they're hitting it and not hitting it.
I get what you're saying. I feel like I got maybe a little more out of the music during it than you. Maybe. Particularly, I remember one moment a little bit earlier on where it's kind of the sad music playing, but I'm listening to it, I'm like, that's that's like a remix of the opening theme. Like even in this like kind of serious moment, it's giving you that creep factor, reminding you of where you are. It's like, I don't know, it hit me pretty good. It hit me really good.
I don't know that I would say that I was ever really creeped out at any moment, but I would say that they were able to build very good atmospheres.
Sure. There's definitely just this weight to what's happening.
I would say less of creep and more of like tension.
Yeah, sure. That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was very good.
It
16 years, it once again holds up.
There's one thing I wrote here under music, like all of it. The whole time I was watching it, the music during the intro, outro, all that, it gave me this sense of manic dread. That the only thing I can really compare that to is if you've ever seen like those Batman cartoons where Joker hits someone with the laughy gas and like they're freaking out, terrified, crying, but they can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
That's what it made me feel like very often through the show. That tension is just raw, like like weird stuff, man. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
How about a je ne sais quoi?
I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's excellent.
It's very well done.
You should watch it. I keep making the comment about 16 years, it still holds up. 16 years, like, it's still worth watching.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
still worth going through. And I can
This damn
imagine
show-
in another 16 years, it'd still be worth going through.
This show could get a freaking, like, it could be driving right now. It's great.
Yeah. It is a really good show. It's weird. It swerves you. It purposely plants things that don't matter to try and make you think that they matter because you are thinking too much.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yep.
I just wrote down it's all said and done. It's a creepy, mind-bending, psychological thriller kind of thing. There are some very funny moments in the show, and there are some fairly disturbing moments in the show. It makes you laugh as much as it makes you squirm. And as I told you before we started, there is a lot to, if you want to think too much about it and get into some discussions, by all means, do what I did earlier and look up some 15-year-old chat rooms where you can find people sharing all their theories on it. Some are very interesting. Some are just like, that's dumb what you said.
Probably hopped on the dial up as soon as they got out of their Adult Swim session.
Yeah, dude. The only thing I can say that would be any manner of complaint about this show is that at a certain point, a lot of the supporting cast kind of stops mattering.
Sure.
Particularly, like, they're still there, and you will see it, like, kind of flash to a scene of them to see what they're doing at this, big pivotal moment. There's something big happening. You get to see what they're doing or what they're experiencing or how it's affecting them. But they kind of don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine. I think it all works.
Yeah.
That would be my only complaint.
Yeah, I actually think that it's kind of the point to have them and then drop them.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Of course, all of that, still up for interpretation and everything. Still.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more thing I will say. Let's talk about, as we said, the show is at times disturbing. So, there's stuff you would probably expect from a show about a kid who's bashing people in the head with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see some blood, you're gonna see some gore. There's gonna be a little bit of mental and physical abuse.
Yeah,
there is some drug use.
Yeah, a little drug use.
There
little
is
nudity.
Little nudity. There is child death.
Mm-hmm.
There is animal death. And there's one episode in particular that again, watching it with my girlfriend, we hit the little, here's what's coming on the next episode, little preview thing, which doesn't tell you much, but you see some images. And I was like, oh no, I remember this one. This is going to hurt. There's a bit where you get some, what I'm going to call familial sexual creepiness, which I'm specifically not saying assault because there's no physical contact, but basically someone's creeping and peeping on another member of their family, and it might make you a little sick.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So be prepared for that if you want to check this show out. In the end, though, it's just a wild.
It's also fair to mention that
show.
there's a lot of mental disorder in here.
Yes,
too.
and there is also one episode that we say this every time, and we're never going to stop saying it. If you are thinking about hurting yourself or someone else, please talk to someone. Please don't do it.
Absolutely.
There is an episode that deals very heavily with a few people who are trying to commit suicide.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
heavy themes in this show.
Heavy themes, and yet it works.
Yep.
And you know what's the most messed up is that's one of the funniest episodes.
It really is.
Like it's
wild. Like that episode that adds levity to the show.
And it's about people trying to... Yeah. That's what we're into, guys. That's how this one goes. I'm not gonna say that's what we're into. That's the show we find ourselves knee deep in. But yeah, interesting stuff. Pretty wild. Let's get on to the scores. Roger, what'd you give it for the story and setting?
I gave it 2 points.
2 points. Characters and development?
I gave it 2 points.
2 points. Art and animation?
I gave it 1.5.
I gave it 2.
Okay.
I gave it 2, baby. I really love those character designs. Music and sound?
I gave it 1.5.
I gave it 2 points. I really...
Oh, man.
Raya. How about the je ne sais quoi?
I gave it 2 points.
I gave it 1.5. That's where I cut my half off. So that should put you at, what, a 9?
9.
Solid 9. I got a 9.5, baby.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Not too often that I jump you on these, that I rate one higher than you, but yeah, there we go.
Yep.
That's an animazing from the both of us. Check it out if you haven't already. Paranoia Agent. It is a rad show. We will get into a little bit more details and a little more spoiler in the ramble, but whew, it's a ride, baby.
Hey, after 16 years, it holds up. And it will have you thinking too much.
And when it's done, maybe you should take a rest. Take a rest. Take a rest. Take a rest.
I love it. I love it. Next week, we once again, unfortunately, I'm sorry. This is all on my end. We will not have a show next week.
Sorry, guys.
I have a convention that I'm working. So we've said this many times. We record on Fridays.
Yeah.
Sunday is my day to edit. And I'm working a convention on that Sunday, so I will not have a day to edit the episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
I won't even have time to get audio up. So we're just gonna miss the week, and then we'll come back strong the next week. And con season is coming up. I work in a comic store. It's gonna be busy for everybody, man. So sorry, guys. We will see you not next week, but the week after. I'm glad we could at least hit y'all with this one. But yeah, this. Hopefully this will not, obviously we don't want, every other week to become the norm. We are still going to try to record stuff when we can, but life happens, dude. So we're going to see y'all not the coming week, but the week after. Yeah.
And it's going to be
and we're talking about a couple of things to review. I would say that we have not decided yet. So it'll just be a surprise when we come back. Whatever it is, you'll see the thumbnail and you'll be super stoked about it.
And we maybe if we figure it out for sure, we might throw up one of those little YouTube things.
Absolutely.
Say like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. But we'll let y'all know. We got some plans. We'll see what's going on. But I think that about does it. So for the purposes of the YouTube review, thank y'all so much for checking us out here on Rapid Kick Media. Please like and subscribe. Give us a comment. If you don't want to give us a thumbs up, hey, tell us why in the comments. That's fine. We just want to hear from y'all and figure out what we can do to make this show even better, because we're trying to make it even better. Beyond that, full links and plugs and everything are in the description. We will have the full plugs at the end of the ramble, which I don't know how long that one's going to be, but we're definitely going to have a little baby, some kind of ramble. It's going to be a good time. And if you're listening to the podcast, obviously, we're going to go straight into that. Quick shout out to our good buddy, Haas, a.k.a. Thomas Tastes Better on Instagram. Again, that's all one word, Thomas Tastes Better on Instagram, for the use of our closing theme on the YouTube review portion of the show. That is The Buddy's Good. Again, you can find Haas at Thomas Tastes Better on Instagram. Thank you, Haas. And that's about it, yeah?
Yep, that's it.
All right. So we're going to bust on out of here. Thank you so much for listening again. Love ya.
Love you, buddies.